I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on exam review. We'll consider 6 questions based on trigonometry. We'll use basic trigonometric ratios, sine law and cosine law to answer these questions. I'd like you to pause the video, copy these questions, and then we are going to take them one by one. So I think you can see first 5. Let me push this page a bit. I hope all are clear. Take time to solve some of them and then look into my suggestions. Let's begin. Question number 1. A boy and a girl see a bird fly overhead between them. The angle of elevation to the bird from girl is 73 degrees. The girl is 120 meters from the bird and 100 meters from the boy. Determine the distance between bird and the boy in two ways. Explain your approach. So let's first sketch the scenario and then we'll kind of solve it. So it's always important to sketch first. So let's say a boy and a girl are there. Now we are given that angle of elevation means from the ground the angle is 73 degrees from bird to the from girl to the bird. So let's say this is the angle of elevation. Okay, let me extend this now. Okay. So this angle here is 73 degrees. What we need to find is the distance from the bird to the boy. This is what we need to find. So, and we are also given that distance between boy and the girl is 100 meters. Between the bird, let's call this O, that object, and girl is 120 meters. We need to find OB, let's call it X. That's the question for you. And we have to show it in 2 different ways. Now, the first way, let's say case 1, is using cosine law. Now, some of you might not have done cosine law till now, but we'll use other ways also to find it. Okay, so cosine law will be used when the case is 2 sides and included angle is given to us. We say SAS. These 2 sides included angle is given to us. So using cosine law, we can straight away find the answer. So we know x squared is equal to sum of these 2 squares, 100 square plus 120 square, take away 2 times 100 times 120 times cos of angle in between 73 degrees. Right, so let's calculate this. So it is 100 square plus 120 square minus 2 times 100 times 120 times cos of 73 is equal to. So we get 17383. So to find x, we'll do square root of this, right? So we are saving some time. Just square root. Square root of our answer, which is equal to 131.844. So we'll write 8, okay. So we got the distance of the boy from the bird as 131.8 meters. Perfect. So with cosine law, it's very simple, as you can clearly see here. Now, how could you do otherwise? Well, the other method could be, we could drop a perpendicular from here. In that case, this is 90 degrees. So we get 2 triangles, and let's solve these 2 triangles, right? So let's call this point P. Okay, this is P for us. Now, we can find OP using trigonometric ratios. We now know the hypotenuse and opposite side. That means we'll use sine of 73. So we can say sine of 73 degrees is equal to opposite side. We don't know. Let's call it y. Y over 120, correct? And from here we can find what y is. Y is 120 times sine of 73 degrees. Let's calculate this. So 120 times sine of 73 degrees is equal to 114.7. Let's round it to 6. Okay, so we got this. Now we can also find PG. Let's call this as let's say D, some distance. Now that becomes the cosine, adjacent side, right? So I can write D, which is P to G, as 120 times cos. 120 times cos of 73 degrees. Perfect. So let's do this. 120 times cos of 73. Okay. 120 times cos of 73 degrees is equal to 35.08. So I'll just call it 35. Okay. Let's put it, okay, 1. So we have distance D, and therefore we can find what PB is, right? So PB, let's find P to B, which is 100 minus 35.1. Okay. So 100 minus 35.1. It gives us 64.9. So we know this, right? 64.9. We know y. Perfect. So in this particular triangle which we have, we are talking about the triangle BOP. We know that BP is equals to 64.9. We know OP is y, 114.76. So what is x, which is distance from bird, the object, to the boy? So that unknown is equals to, we can use Pythagorean theorem, right? Square root of sum of their squares, 64.9 square plus 114.76 square. Doesn't make sense. Let's do this. So we have 64.9 square plus 114.76 square, and then we'll square root this, right? So it is square root of, 17381. So square root of this answer is equal to 131.8. So we get exactly same answer. Units are meters. Do you see that? So that is how you could do it. Now this is an excellent question to begin with. We started with cosine law. We have used the trigonometric ratios, sine and cosine. Now as an extension, question for you is find angle OBP. Let's say OBG. Okay, so that is the angle which you have to find. Correct? I hope that's absolutely clear. Now let's continue. Let's take up the next question, which is relatively simple. Question number 2. An 8-meter ladder is leaning against a wall. The foot of the ladder is 2 meters from the base of the wall. So let's say this is the wall. Okay. Find the angle formed by the ladder and ground. Okay, so let's say that's the ladder. We know length of the ladder is 8 meters. The foot of the ladder is 2 meters from the base of the wall, right? Let's call this as the base. Let's say A, B, and C. So that would be 90 degrees. Perfect. Find the angle formed by the ladder and the ground. So that is the angle which is formed by ladder and the ground. So we'll go for acute angle. So we'll find the acute angle. Angle, let's say CAB. Now here, we know these two sides. So as you learn SOHCAHTOA, sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, tan is opposite over adjacent. Since we know these two sides, which is adjacent, right, and that is hypotenuse. If you know this combination, then you're going to use cos. Perfect. So we have, let's call this angle as, we can always say angle A. So we say cos of angle A is equal to adjacent side, which is 2 over 8, the hypotenuse, which is 1 over 4. So angle A is equals to cos inverse of 1 over 4. Is it okay? So that is how you're going to do it. So let's do, shift cos inverse within brackets 1 divided by 4 bracket close equals to 75.5. So we get angle A as 75.5 degrees. So angle which the ladder makes with the ground is this. You have to write the whole sentence. Is it okay? As your answer. Okay, let's move on. Take up the next question. I'd like you to pause the video, copy this question answer, and then look into my suggestions. Question number 3. Find area of a triangle ABC where AB equals to 9 centimeters, angle A is 30 degrees, and AC is 7 centimeters. So let's make a triangle. Okay. So let's say this is the triangle. What we are given here is, let's call this as ABC. AB is 9 centimeters, angle A is 30 degrees, and AC is 7 centimeters. You need to find area of triangle ABC. How will you do it? So the question is to find area. So we know area is half base times height. Now we know the base, but we don't know what height is. So to find height, I'll have to draw up a perpendicular from here. Let's say this is the perpendicular. Let's call this point as P. So first we need to find CP. Now look at the triangle ACP. What we know here is angle 30 degrees and hypotenuse. We need to find CP, which is the opposite side. So we can use sine, right? So in this triangle, we can say sine of 30 degrees is equal to the opposite side CP over hypotenuse AC, right? And therefore, we can find CP very easily by cross multiplying, right? So we get CP, which is also the altitude or the height of the triangle, is equals to AC times sine of 30 degrees, correct? Sometimes we write like this, segment. Okay. So let's calculate. Well, AC is 7, so we have 7 sine 30. Okay. So we get 7 times sine of 30 degrees is equal to 3.5. If you know special triangles, you don't even have to use calculator. So that becomes CP. So that is the height. Now we can find area, right? So area of our triangle ABC is equals to half of base is 9 centimeters, right, times the height, which is 3.5 centimeters, correct? So we get our answer in centimeter squares. So we'll do 3.5 times 9 divided by 2 equals to 15.75. So we get 15.75 centimeters square as the area. So the answer is 15.75 centimeters square. Perfect. Next question. Find area of isosceles triangle with sides that measure 4 centimeter, 10 centimeter, 10 centimeter. So let's sketch one. Okay, so there you go. I would like you to pause the video, answer this question. This is very similar to what we just did, right? So the strategy is same, right? So this is 10 centimeters. This is also 10 centimeters. And here we have 4 centimeters. We dropped a perpendicular. Let's call this triangle as ABC, for example. So we know the area of this triangle is half AB times, let's call this point as, this will also be a midpoint, right? So let's call it CM, right? So let's find what CM is. How are you going to find? In any isosceles triangle, this is going to divide it equally, and therefore the side is going to be 2 units, right? 2 and 2. Perfect. So we know CM is equals to square root of 10 square minus 2 square. Does it make sense? See, this is a right triangle, right? So what we know in right triangle is that CM square plus 2 square is equals to 10 square, and therefore CM square is equals to 10 square minus 2 square, or CM is square root of these two, right? 100 minus 4, I mean, right? So let's calculate this. So we have square root of 10 square minus 2 square, bracket close, equals to, we get equals to 9.7979. Okay, we have it in calculator, so it's easy now. So what's the area of the triangle? So area of the triangle is half of A to B, which is 4, times, let's call this as 9.8. Is it okay? And just calculate. So we already have this number. We'll multiply by 2 because 4 divided by 2. And then write down our answer as equal to 19.6 centimeters square. Now this question I have given you on purpose. What you realize here is that we did not even use trigonometry. Do you see that? We did not use trigonometry, correct? So, and solved it. Perfect. Now my advice to you is, find the same answer, alternate method. I want you to do alternate method for the same. Is that clear, right? So that's what I need you to do. Let's move on. Take question number 5. Now this is a very important question from examination point of view. I've seen it many times. The question here is, each side of a regular pentagon ABCDE is 8.2 centimeters. Calculate the length of diagonal AC. So normally the diagram will be given to you in such cases. So let me sketch one here, right? So trying to sketch a pentagon. Regular pentagon means all sides are equal, right? So let me just make it here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What we need to find is, let me just label it. Let's start from here. A, B, C, D, E, right? And the side is AC, which we are interested in finding. Each side is 8.2 centimeters, right? So each side is equal to 8.2 centimeters. We need to calculate the diagonal AC, okay? So in such cases, what should you do first? Think about it. Pause the video, answer, and then look into my suggestions, okay? So first step is, let's find interior angle. Now, sum of angles is 360 degrees, right? So it is 360 degrees, the sum of angles, divided by 5. Since there are 5 such interior angles, for any polygon, the closed polygon, sum of interior angles is always 360 degrees, right? So to begin with, that's what it is. And it is easy to prove. For example, if you bring all these points together, this line here and this line also, what you will notice is that full angle of 360 degrees will be formed. Okay, so let's calculate this. So we get 360 divided by 5 equals to 72. So in this case, the interior angle here is 72 degrees. It's for all. This is also 72 degrees. Okay, so which is 72 degrees. Now since we have an isosceles triangle, now think about the triangle ABC. In this triangle, what should be the angle BAC? Now BAC means we're looking into these two angles. Both are equal, correct? So it will be 180 degrees is sum of all these angles minus 72 degrees. Then we get these two angles and it has to be half of this, correct? So that is how you can find the angle. So let's calculate. So we have 180 minus 72 equals to 108 divided by 2 is equals to 54. So this angle is 54 degrees, correct? So the angle BAC is equals to 54 degrees. Now, the idea is to find the length of AC. How can you do that? Well, there are a couple of ways to do it at this stage. What we will do is, we know that side BC is also 8.2 centimeters, right? So since we know two sides and included angle, we can use cosine law. That is first thing. There's no need to find 54 in that case. Okay, so we'll use cosine law and find the answer. If you have not done cosine law till now, in that case, you should find an alternate method. Is that okay? So we get AC square as equal to 8.2 square plus 8.2 square minus 2 times 8.2 times 8.2 times cos of angle 72 degrees, correct? Let's calculate. So we have 8.2 square plus 8.2 square minus 2 times 8.2 times 8.2 times cos of 72 degrees. This is equal to 92.92. Let's write down. And therefore, the side AC is square root of 92.92. The square root for our answer here is 9.63. We can say 9.64 centimeters, right? So the diagonal AC is 9.64. Now if you have not done cosine law, in that case, how should you do it? You need to drop the perpendicular from here, correct? And then you know, since this is an isosceles triangle, these two sides are equal. Solve one of the triangles. Solve one of the triangles and double this side. Is that okay? Correct? So what you can do here is, since this is 54, right? This is 54. Hypotenuse is 8.2. Let's do alternate. So what we will do here is, we'll consider the triangle, let's this P, right? So we have triangle ABP. Now in this particular triangle, AP could be found, since we know the angle of 52 and hypotenuse of 8.2, right? So AP is equal to 8.2 times cos of 54. Is it okay? So that is what it is. So let's do 8.2 cos of 54 degrees is equal to 4.819. So AC is 2 times AP, right? Which is 2 times 4.8. So we multiply this by 2 and we get 9.6 as our answer. Correct? So approximately. So that is how we could do alternately without using cosine law. Perfect. Now it is important at this stage, since in grade 10 some students might not have done cosine law till now. So there is always an alternate method. Perfect. Question number 6. Now this is the last question of our video on exam review trigonometry, and it's a very interesting question. Determine acute angle at which lines y equals to 2x minus 1 and y equals to 0.5x plus 2 intersect. I'd like you to pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my solution. Now let's try to make a rough sketch. Y equals to 2x minus 1 means y-intercept somewhere here, slope positive, right? So let me sketch a line here. Okay, so that becomes my line y equals to 2x minus 1. Let's sketch the second line, which is y equals to 0.5x plus 2. Now here also positive slope going through somewhere here. So just to keep it in the page, let me just sketch it like this. Okay, so this becomes my second line, which is y equals to 0.5x plus 2. What are we interested in calculating? We need to find the angle, acute angle at which these lines intersect. So we want to find this angle, right? Or this angle, both are same. That's the question. Now I think it is easy. You can pause the video, answer this question, and then look into my suggestions. Now we are given line 1, which is y equals to 2x minus 1. The slope m is 2, right? This is the slope. You know slope is what? Slope is rise over run. Perfect. So if I see, let me make a triangle here, let's say. Let's consider this line and let's consider this triangle. Slope is this rise over run. Do you see that? Rise over run actually also gives you tan theta. Let's say this angle is theta. So we can say tan theta is equal to slope, which is 2. So from here we can find what theta is. So theta is tan inverse of 2. So let's calculate this. So shift tan inverse of 2, we get 63.4 degrees. Is that correct? So the relation slope and trigonometry is with tan ratio. Similarly, let's find the other angle. Let's call this as phi. So here also, let's consider this big triangle now. So slope here is half, right? So we say tan phi is half. And therefore, what is the angle phi equals to? Is just tan inverse of half, or 0.5. So let's find this. So we have shift tan inverse of 0.5, and that gives you 26.56. 26.56, let's call it 6 degrees. So these are the two angles known to us. Can you find the third angle? Well, many ways. The third angle, which we are really interested in our answer, is, let's call it gamma, right? So alpha, beta, gamma are used in angles often. So what should that be? Well, if you use the external theorem, then theta is sum of these two, right? Theta is sum of these two. So we know theta is equal to phi plus gamma, and that gives you that interior angle is indeed equal to theta minus phi, which is 63.4 take away 26.6 degrees, right? So let's do it. 63.4 take away 26.6, so round it to 1 decimal places, we get 36.8 degrees. Does it make sense to you? So without using any other formula, we can very easily find the angle of intersection of lines, right? So our answer is angle of intersection, so acute angle of intersection is 36.8 degrees. With this, we come to an end of this particular video. I'll provide you with more links so that you can have some practice questions for your exam. Feel free to write your comments and suggestions. If you like my video, that'd be great. Share it with all. Thank you and all the best.